Hey friends, we're off here, Louisville ProActivist Report, back with another interview in this series where we're talking about Breonna Taylor, the movement, everything going on in the city. So I want to bring you guys multiple perspectives on that, and that brings me to my guest today. I'm here with Streets. Streets is one of the leaders here in Louisville with the movement, one of the organizers, leads marches, so on and so forth, just heavily involved, see him out all the time. Thanks so much for being on today, man. I appreciate your time. How are you today?
Yes, sir. I'm great, man.
All right, you want to walk and talk as we go here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're down here at Injustice Square, as we normally are. And we're just going to do this walk and talk format. Y'all know how I like that. So let's just kind of get in from the beginning. I have this question to ask everybody that comes on for this series. And that's, what was your initial reaction when you heard about what happened to Breonna Taylor, and how'd that make you feel?
Yeah, so my initial reaction was, it was like, dang, they killed a black queen in her house, you know, and her boyfriend was the hero to save the day, you know. But ultimately, it was like, well, they killed her, and then the cops just got away for free. So, my initial reaction was like, dang, that's crazy, you know. Because it could have been my family, it could have been my brother, my sister, my mother, you know. So it was like, dang, like I'm really like, well, I think to the time with Trayvon Martin and how I did some things with that. So I was like, well, it's time to protest. It's time to get change. It's time to make change, you know. So the first day I really did not know that was protesting. I was just like, okay, but I almost got hit by a car like on the next street. So I was like, man, I don't know what's going on, until somebody was like, look at my Facebook. Then I seen the whole thing. So I mean, my initial reaction was like, dang, that's a black queen and it needs to be justice. Yeah.
So then you made that next step and you came down. The first time I actually saw you, you were leading a march that I was in that first week. So what made you go from just kind of sitting on the side to not just protesting and being here, but actually taking a lead role?
Right. So the second day I came down, it wasn't the first day. The second day I came down, and I was on the phones with my friends, and we was like, man, I was like, man, I'm about to go to this protest, you know. They're like, be safe, da da da. I goes down to the protest. It's like, it's great. You feel me? Everybody's in a line with each other. Everybody's like, yeah, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, things like that. We're like, okay, you know. The second day I come, it was some stuff going on with another leader or whatever, and it was like a lot of things going on. So I sat on the sidelines, and I was like, cool, I'm not going down there and people back at tear gas. I'm not really going down there for real. So I sat on the sidelines. Everybody was like, oh, what's going on? They started seeing everybody like getting tear gas, So I sat down, and then the people was like, well, it's time for you to lead. You the leader, you feel me? Basically, you the leader, you know, where are we going, this and that, because they saw me in the front lines when I first came out. I just wanted to be in front of the march. I really didn't want to be in the back, the middle. You know, if I'm gonna protest, I'm gonna protest, and then also I'm just gonna let my voice be heard. And me being tall was like, he's the leader because first he's tall, he sticks out, and on top of that, his voice is loud. So after that, you know, that was like, which way we going? I'm like I don't know, you know, I'm just a protest, like, yeah, I'm just protesting, you know. And they're like, nah, it's you gotta. So I'm like, all right, let's go to Broadway. From there, it was like, boom. I started like leading this march, and it felt weird, but then it felt good because I was doing it for the right reasons. But then it felt like my family was like, man, you can't be out here. My friends was like, you can't be out here. But then I was like, well, it's for justice, you feel me? Because it could have been us. So I mean, I was sitting from the sidelines, and then I was like, man, let's step into it. So I finally stepped into it, and it's just been like, let's get justice for Breonna Taylor. It's just been like that from months and months on. I had a job, then I don't have a job, so it's like, yeah, this is now my job, so yeah.
Thanks. So now that you are one of the leaders and kind of one of the organizers, is that bring extra pressure, extra stress on you, or
Yes.
what's that like?
So what that's like is like extra stress. You feel me? It's like you get all these followers, you get all these people. Like every day I was coming out, it was like, oh, are you leading that march today? What time it's gonna be? Every time I come out, it was like a hey, what's up? And then it was like, okay, it's getting to that certain time, people won't march. So it was like, dang, I had to like kind of like I had to kind of like be like, okay, I got to set a schedule. I gotta know where I'm going, things like that. And it was like, okay, cool. So it was stressful. It still is stressful not having a job, seeing all the stuff with different things going on. But I'm blessed though. I'm blessed to be in the position that I am. I'm blessed to fight for justice. I'm blessed to, still say people's name, because when I die, and if the police kill me, I want somebody to try to get justice for me too, So, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully that never happens, but if it happens, we'll be out here for you, brother.
Yes.
So I know you mentioned Ferguson a minute ago. So talk about kind of some of the activism you've done before.
So it was the Trayvon Martin case, and people was protesting in Louisville, doing some protesting in Louisville. I stepped out of
Ferguson, my bad.
Yeah, it's all in the mix, it's all in the mix. People was doing some protests in Ferguson, people was doing some in Louisville. I had some friends from Ferguson that was doing some stuff. So, we was all in a big mix. It was a lot going on, and I've been doing this for quite some time, just fighting for Black lives and fighting for justice for the people that's getting, injustice, that's not getting justice, even with my family, So the things that I heard in Ferguson, it's kind of what's going on in Louisville. There's an uprising. There's different things. It's like, okay, it's like a big protest, and then it dies down a little bit, and then when they make this call, they said they're gonna make a call next week. It might come back up to, like, if we don't get the right answer, it's gonna come back up into another big commotion, and then my experience with protesting has been ups and downs, but with the Breonna Taylor case, I see myself going more harder, you feel me, and see myself in like this little leadership role or whatever. I see myself I guess it's just like more serious right now. It's like more like it's here in my face, you feel me? So you gotta just work on that, Back in the past, it really wasn't there in my face, but it was there, but it wasn't there. So yeah. Yeah.
Now you think after all this is over that you're gonna stick with activism? Think that's kind of going to be the way forward for you, or?
So in my career, I really work with kids and mentor kids and things like that. So activism is something that I do too. So I've been doing this activism for quite some time. So activism will be will come into play as well. So.
Okay. So let me get your thoughts on what happened to David McAtee.
David McAtee. That night I really wasn't out that night. But my thoughts was, I felt like it was really foul how they played it out. First they killed this man at a barbecue restaurant that he owns, and he was feeding the officers, he was feeding the police and things like that. They still shot him, they still did whatever they wanted to, and left his body out there for 13 plus hours, and it's like y'all don't leave. Y'all trying to make a statement by leaving his body out there, for that much time, and I just felt like it was horrible, you feel me? How a man can feed his community, how a man can go up and beyond and feed LMPD, and y'all still doing a man like that, So I just feel like the same way I'm saying Breonna Taylor, I am saying David McAtee and George Floyd. So we just need justice.
Yeah, no doubt. And unfortunately, it seems to be a pattern with LMPD. David McAtee's body, they left Breonna on the floor for multiple hours too. And it just shows the regard that they have for lives, especially Black lives, and how a change is needed. So speaking of change, we've had some outside groups come in to kind of help us out. We had Until Freedom come in, we had NFAC come in. So what do you think about those groups, and what do you think about the help that's coming in?
Until Freedom, let's start with Until Freedom. Until Freedom, they've been doing some good work. First, I didn't really seem like they were doing good work at first because of how they came in and how they started off. But as they came in the second time, they kind of got some ideas for the community, and they started doing food drives and things like that, and I appreciate that. There's some more stuff that's going on with Until Freedom and that side, I feel like they helped in the community, but at the same time too, I feel like that it's starting to be like a let's take over the movement, and the community has been coming to me and saying, look, I don't like how Until Freedom's like trying to take over the movement and trying to take over this Louisville thing. And I feel like the city has to get back to it. But they're doing a lot of good work, but I think that they need to give the community some more. They need to incorporate the community as well into what they're doing. NFAC, I really ain't got that really good of a rapport with NFAC. They was, they came to their verdict, things like that. They said what they had to say. They went back on their word, and I really ain't really seen them do what they said they was going to do,
Yeah.
So I really don't know. I don't hate them, I don't like them, but it's just in the middle. But the Angry Birds, the Angry Vikings, all them groups, if they come here to destroy, it's not gonna happen. And I'm just gonna be here to stand tall, So that's about it.
Yeah, Angry Viking, these out-of-town people that think they can come to Louisville and tell us what we can and can't do and how to do it. And then, they say we're doing all this violence and tearing up the city, but we aren't. There was a couple of moments like the first week, and then some little stuff like some chairs getting flipped over or whatever, but that's not anything
Right.
for real, and people shouldn't be more angry about that than they are the death of David McAtee and Breonna Taylor. Priorities are kind of out of whack. But yeah, I was kind of caught off guard with NFAC when the Angry Viking came here to the square, and NFAC didn't come down here and back the protesters. I didn't expect that. And what was your take on that? Do you think they should have been down here to help you?
Yes, they should have been down here, but I know that they say that they're not here for the protesters, so I really don't know what they're here for. If they're not here for the protesters, they're here for the family, because the protesters is ultimately here to stand tall with Breonna Taylor's family, so they're not here to support that, and I don't know why they're here, but if they're here to support the family, then they should be with the protesters as well. But I felt like that they should have been here, but that was like, well, they supposed to meet us where we at, and on that note, it's dangerous for the protesters because all the protesters don't have guns. They don't have this and that like NFAC do. So when they came down here and said we're looking for NFAC should have came down here, because they also said if somebody's threatening them, they will handle that threat. So there you have it.
Yeah. Speaking of NFAC and Until Freedom, kind of brings us to Derby Day. They were both involved, and that was a really big action from lots of multiple groups involved. No Justice, No Peace Louisville, Firm was involved, and several other groups. So kind of give your thoughts on Derby, what happened that day, and how it played out.
Shout out to Tim Finley. He definitely coordinated and made that happen on Derby. It was great. I think the ultimate goal was for them to feel us and to hear our voice, for them to turn them cameras off those horses, to turn the cameras on the movement. And I think that it was great that a lot of people came together as one in March and made a horse disqualify themselves, made some things shake, and made some things just be all in one accord, because everybody seemed like there was family out there. It wasn't no division out there. I think that the Derby went good, you know. Nobody got arrested, you know. Everybody protested, that was loud, you know. The police was showing their force, but they didn't, you know. I felt like that was kind of outnumbered, you know. Because, I mean, as same as they got guns, we had guns, we had different things, we made noise. So, yeah, I mean, I think Derby went great. And if they continue not to give Breonna justice, then they just ain't gonna have no Derby or any fun events that they want, you know. So, yeah.
So, kind of keeping on the topic of protesting, kind of how we do it here in Louisville. We don't have that like one lead person out here. We've got several groups, multiple leaders like yourself, a lot of black women really at the forefront of this movement. So kind of what's your take on the way we do it here in Louisville as far as, because a lot of people think we need one leader, a lot of people like that we don't have one central leader and that we're kind of more spread out. Do you think we're united enough and focused enough, or you know, kind of what's your thoughts on it here?
I think the movement is, I think the movement in Louisville, we got a lot of egos, you feel me? Not enough, there's not enough, there's a lot of Indians, but not enough chiefs, you feel me? Everybody want to be a chief, but don't nobody want to be an Indian. Everybody want to be a leader, but not a follower, you know? And I think followers is not a bad thing. And I think that we do need more work on being organized and being strategic of things that we need to do. I mean, I feel like that we all have our problems, we all sacrificing something, you know, but if we're gonna see this movement progress, if we're gonna see this movement increase, then we gotta start thinking more smarter and not harder. We gotta start fighting for justice and not fighting each other, you know. And if we're gonna fight somebody, fight the angry Vikings or somebody that's come down here to hurt the city, you know. So I think in this movement, yeah, it's not just a main leader or, you know, or just a, you know, just many groups and one group or whatever. I think for me, it's the revolution. If somebody say, who's leading the revolution? We are the revolution. We are leading. Oh, who's such and such? This is the revolution. I mean, and I think that's what we need to start saying. Like, this is the movement. It's the revolution. Who did the eviction? This and that. The movement did it. You know, because in Louisville, we starting to get off on our own beefs or starting to get off on our own plans and agendas, and we're making the police officers look good at what they doing. We're making them look great, you know, like they're taking down the billboards and putting up plexiglass. Like, you know, we're making them look good at her, you know, and I think that we got to start getting organized and together and stop making groups after groups after groups and just start trying to compact into one group, you know. So that's my take.
Now, one thing I've really liked about this movement is I've seen so many great ideas from things people have done, from dumping furniture up here on the stairs to, you know, graves over in the on a waterfront park and just all kind of stuff. So what do you think has kind of been our most effective tactic or tactics here in town that you know are making the most difference or the biggest splash?
Definitely the eviction action. I mean, you know, they're evicting people during the pandemic. They're evicting black tenants during the pandemic. Like a white woman said she was pro-black, got it all on Instagram, but evicting black tenants during the pandemic, and and the tenant had kids. So by the movement doing, like, putting furniture on the corners and different things like that, you know, that's showing these judges, that's showing the mayor that stop evicting people, you know, during the pandemic. You know, it's already dangerous enough out here. So by them doing that, you know, we gonna show, okay, let's put this furniture over here. Let's put eviction. Let's put people over poverty. You feel me? Let's let them know that our lives matter. You feel me? Let's let them know that lives matter out here. You know, it's not even just black people. You know, when they're evicting people during the pandemic. This people in general, that's wrong. So I mean, that that's a big thing right now. I think the eviction action is definitely the biggest one that I like so far. The marches was great. It kind of died down a little bit. The Derby was definitely good. No justice, no Derby. And the car caravans was helpful as well. That was blocking up a lot of traffic and things like that. The bridge action, people wasn't getting to work. They were shutting some things down over there. The Nulu action was bombed because the Nulu action, they didn't expect that. So things like that, I think that those really work, you feel me? When we plan strategic, when we try to do things that's, when the movement try to do things like that, it's like, let's keep doing it, until we get justice, so I think it's not gonna stop. It's still not gonna stop. If Breonna Taylor get justice, it's still not gonna stop, So I mean, whatever the movement does in the strategic, let's keep doing it.
Quick side note for Facebook and YouTube, I don't claim the rights to any music you might hear in the background, so you don't mess with my video. So let's switch gears a little bit and talk about some of the issues in the Westend, or just a couple, the two main ones anyways. Let's start with Westend policing, kind of even before Breonna, what's your thoughts on it? Have you ever had any bad experiences with them, or anybody in your family, anything like that? And just what do you see in the neighborhood?
I think Westend policing, I think that we need to start, so they just picked a new, the mayor appointed a new police chief. And I think the mayor has a huge problem with that because he's already in some fire. So by you appointing a new police chief is putting you in more fire because of the fact that you didn't let the people appoint it, you let yourself appoint it. So in the West End, there's going to continue to be more problems because the people didn't appoint this person in the office. So the police is going to continue to show their force. They're going to continue to do the things that they want to do down there because they're like, well, the mayor, he's appointing that. The people, the people's not. So, I mean, it's like, I think it's really, the police they're going to do what they want until something is done. And I think in this movement, I think it ties back into this movement because after this justice is done, after this justice is served, I'm just speaking now in the air that the justice is going to be served. The next thing is I'm going to start attacking these people I'm going to start attacking these people in the systems, the systematic racism, the systematic structures. I'm going to start breaking those down. The police chiefs, all of those things, you feel me? Because the people need to appoint them, for our communities to get right, you feel me? We need to start doing our own policing so the communities can get right. Our kids that's out here doing the things they do, the parents, the people that, if we doing our own policing, we can help stop that, So Ferguson did the same thing. When after the situation with Trayvon Martin, they went after the policy side. They went after the police chief, got a whole new police force, all those things. So, I mean, if they can do that, we can do that too, by just learning off of them. So, I'm just following the path that they created,
What are kind of some of the things you'd like to see as far as changes in the police?
Changes in the police. So I do want to see that black officers stand up and start writing letters to these big name people or just officers in general, keep their partners accountable and keep their people accountable. So that way, when something do go down, go tell that to the high end, the person up above, the mayor or whatever, and let it be known, or if that's not the case, start spreading that out on the news or something, because I think the police got to keep themselves accountable, keep their partners accountable, especially the black officers, keeping their other officers accountable, because that's the only way this will work. Like if some of the black officers that didn't agree with the with Brett Hankerson and all them stuff, with all the white officers that didn't agree with Brett Hankerson and all them, Jonathan Musgrove and all them people, if they didn't agree with them, you know, they can put in a form and be like, yo, we didn't agree with this situation and this and that, and they can put in all these little things, and they just should do that, you know. They should go and be like, yo, let's put in our form, you know, let's put in our form and be like, yo, we need to keep this accountable. We need to we need to basically like just, I don't know the word, but we need basically just like tell the higher ups what they doing, because everything that some of them got records, so everything that they doing, they just sweep it under the rug, you know. And I think that folks should start putting that stuff out into the community and letting people know what's really going on. So I think police can change how the way they do things, the way they stop people, you know, during a traffic stop, and different things like that. I think they can change a lot of things about themselves. And I think the main issue will have to be, I know that the mayor is calling for police reform, you know, because he's the top mayor, but at the same time, there's no reform for his police officers here right now. So I don't know why he calling for that, and he can't even do it with his own police officers. So I mean, I just feel like change need to be made in every area. You feel me? If we want change, we got to be the change. You know. So.
Nice. So the other issue I want to talk about in the Westend, and this was something that came to light right away with Breonna, was gentrification.
Yes.
And we know that played a role in the police being there at her apartment that night. So talk about gentrification in the Westend, Portland neighborhood, or even Nulu, you know, has totally changed into something different.
Yes.
So what's your thoughts on gentrification around here?
Gentrification. Shout out to the Portland action. The Portland action with the gentrification when they snuck up on the mayor and he ain't know.
Yeah.
You know, so shout out to that. So I think gentrification is Gil Holland. I don't mess with him. Gil Holland is the one that does the most gentrification in Louisville. He did the Nulu, he did the Portland. I think he has his hands in the Beach of Terrace project. So gentrification is definitely an issue in Louisville. I think that they need to stop that, because they pushing people out of their homes. They just pushing people out of their homes, not giving them the home, not giving, you know, they just turn down communities, you know, and trying to build on top of something else, you know, so, or trying to raise the prices and things like that. So I think gentrification is, we need to fix that, you know. We need to definitely fix that in Louisville, and start going after the ones that's really doing it, like Gil Holland, Mayor Fisher. He got some homes that he bought in the West End. He ain't slick, you know, we see it online. We got these different people just trying to buy up these houses in the West, you know, and kicking people out of their houses to build different things like that. So I think it just needs to stop, you know. So, you know, we don't want no police and no evictions, you know. We want the gentrification to stop. So Gil Holland, you out there, I need you to come to your head, come to your conclusion of, I mean, the movement probably gonna be after you next, you know. Yeah.
If he ever wants to sit down and listen to any of you or any of the protesters, I'll be glad to give that camera. I don't think he would do that, but I'll put that out there for you, Gil Holland. I have one last question for you, and I ask this a lot of people, and I get a different answer from everybody I ask. So, what does justice for Breonna look like to you?
Justice for Breonna looks like to me, justice for Breonna. So what it looks like for me is indict, convict, and send her officers, all the killers, to jail. Send them all to jail, indict them and convict them. They all need to be arrested. They all need to be charged. The mayor needs to be charged with something. The person that wrote that silly warrant needs to be charged. a lot of them need to be charged, and I think that's what justice looks like for me. Justice looks like getting that gentrification problem fixed. Justice looks like that LMPD should be changed. Justice looks like that no narc warrants should be in law, you know, in Kentucky and all over the world, because they're going to continue doing this, you know, all over the world. So I think this needs to be a law, and we need to start changing them policies. So changing them policies and getting them all arrested is what justice looks like for me, you know, and taking these silly boards down all over the city, because they're making the city look bad. You know, they keep saying that we're making it look bad, but they the one doing it. You know, we ain't broke a single window at the courthouse, at the police station, that building back there, that building. Like, we ain't broke a single window, you know. So I mean, it might have been a window broken over, but I mean, you know, they the one that's looking silly, you know. So I mean, justice, that's what justice look like. Justice look like that her family can finally get rest. Kenneth Walker can finally get rest, because I know that her mother is hurting, you know. And on top of that, I really know that Kenny Walker is hurting, you know, because he laid in the bed with her every day. He was her, he wanted to marry her. He probably wanted kids. He probably wanted different things. So I definitely know that he's hurting. I definitely know that he's like, man, I really don't know what to do. I don't know if I can get into another relationship. I don't know if I can, you know, live my life anymore. You know, he might be struggling with a lot of things. So I think that justice looks like that they get help, they get therapy, they get rest, they get justice, they get, you know, if they receive a little money, you know, a little vacation, fine, you know. Them to arrest these officers, put them in court, indict them, convict them. Mayor Fisher needs to step down from office, because he's never did anything, so he needs to step down. Andy Brashear needs to step down. Mitch McConnell needs to step down. You know, so I think justice look like that we just clean out this whole system and make a new one.
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. That would be awesome. That's all the questions I had. Is there anything else you wanted to address or talk about before we get out of here?
Nah. Like I said, my name is Streets. I'm an organizer, local protester. I own several nonprofits, work with a lot of people, try to make the communities be better, you know, trying to bridge the gap between whoever's, you know, having problems with anybody, you know. On Instagram, I go by Speak for Streets, and I'm always going to be out here. I'm always going to try to get justice. I appreciate you again for the interview. You know, so keep up with my boy, you know, and we're going to be out here. You know, if it's 150 days, we're going to be out here, you know. So, hey, that's it.
You got any social media for your nonprofits you want to plug while you're here?
Speak For is my nonprofit. Speak, and then For, so it's SPEAKFOUR. Speak For. We're doing a couple events coming up. We're going to be doing some events where we give out some Impossible Burgers. We're gonna host a health fair. We're gonna do some things for the kids and just for the community, and try to get healthy. You know, STDs trainings, things like that. A little testings and all that. Do some martial arts training for free. So we're gonna try to do that. We're gonna try to revamp some things in the community. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. You know, and if you want to donate. On my Instagram, I have my donate. My Venmo is Speak for Streets, Speak the number 4 Streets, and my Cash App is # Speak for Streets. So yeah.
There you have it, y'all. Those are excellent things to support right there. So check those out. If you're all about donating to charities, definitely look into that and check that out, especially if you're local. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, this is one in a series of people who are involved in the protest. Streets is literally the first organizer I saw in the first march I was on in this movement, and I really wanted to have him on for a while now. Check out my other videos. I've got a lot of great videos out there already up. look for those. I'm still in talks with some other people trying to get some more interviews out over the next few weeks, so keep checking for that. As always, I'm local, independent, nonprofit, so you can support me by liking, following, clicking the bell, sharing, commenting, boosting those algorithms, and that's pretty much it. So thanks again, guys, and until next time, always think critically.
Right.